What's up guys, it's Crab here, welcome back to another Battles 2 video. Today we're going to be seeing if the village is a better money-making tower than the farm now. We're going to be doing this in the mode Jumpstart. Bonanza is no longer available, and I don't want to do this in just a normal ranked battle because I don't typically farm, so it would kind of throw off like my whole routine. And I want to grind back up on this account and get to the Hall of Masters. Now, the good thing about this is I can use any hero I want. I'm going to be using Etienne because I need to grind some more XP for him. That way I can unlock BTN because I want to unlock all of the heroes on this account at some point. That opponent disconnected. Let's try to get another one. And hopefully it doesn't take forever. Now, so ever since the Village monkeyconomy upgrade came out, I've always said that I think the Village is going to be a better money-making tower. Now, you probably won't make as much money, but with the monkeyconomy, you will probably catch up because, you know, the best thing about it is you have all the other paths of the village, so you can use the bottom path upgrades, get your village farms, and then those should give you enough money where you can support the late game rushes and everything and not have to worry about your eco being trash. And then you can and then you'll also have enough eco where you should be able to support the other upgrades that you want to go for so you can defend. Just restarted Battles 2 and now we're into a game. As I was saying, I'm going to be using Etienne because I need XP for him. I got the Map Plutonium Mines, one of my favorites. And we're going to be using Dartling Ice Super Monkey as per usual. That's by far my favorite strategy for Bonanza, Jumpstart, anything really where you make a lot of money. So this will give you a baseline of where we're at with just a pure eco strategy. So we're gonna go ahead and get our Hydro Rocket Pod set there. You know, we can go for a Icicle Impale right here. And then we can get the Legend of the Night there. We'll clear that. And then let's get our Super Brittle right there. Now, this is going to differ a little bit because it's Jumpstart. We're not always going to have the same amount of money, same amount of eco. But, you know, this will show you the pure eco side of things when you're in the later game rounds. Let's get the Rocket Storm on that. Then the next one we'll use the village, and then we'll use the farm, and we'll see if we notice a big difference between the farm and the village. And if not, that'll prove that the village is superior, because with the village you have those other paths. You don't have to just use it to make money. You have things like the primary expertise, you have the homeland defense, and you can use those things to your advantage. You can micro them. You can, like with the primary expertise, you can do a lot of damage with it. And it's a really good way to make money and defend. Now, one thing I'm going to do here, just because I'm curious, is I'm going to send an unfortified BAD. I'm just curious how they'll do with just the Sun Temple. And we'll see how they do, because the Sun Temple is strong, but it's not the best tower. And that's why I went with the Legend of the Night, because it's a little more solid against all different types of balloons. But this will get our opponent to spend more on upgrades. Maybe get a tower boost out of them. They use their Call to Arms ability. And we can see that went about halfway across the map. So not terrible. And we're going with the grouped purples. Pretty good late game. I wouldn't recommend them until you have about 4,000 eco, but since this is Jumpstart and we have a lot of cash built up already, then I can do it. So we're just gonna kind of eco with those group purples and, you know, get our defenses up a little bit. And then eventually our goal is to rush our opponent. And that's the thing. When you're farming, you're going to earn money faster, and you can rush your opponent faster. Now, I personally don't like doing that because I like going late game. But since there's 40 rounds, if you start on round 30, 5 rounds later you could send your opponent a fortified BAD and get the victory. So that's just something you have to keep in mind. But I'm just gonna let our money build up for now, and then we'll rush them. Thinking, we probably want to space out fortified BADs because they've got that Sun Temple, and that's gonna be their main damage, and then the Call to Arms ability, when they activate that, it's gonna do a lot more damage, so that way if we space them out, they won't have that chance to do, you know, a load of damage. We're gonna get ecoing with group pinks for now, and probably what we'll do for the rest of the game, because we want to slow down our eco, build up some more cash, that way we can rush. Now in Jumpstart games, I don't recommend going for the Sun Temple or the True Sun God unless you start with like 250,000 or more dollars, because usually if you start with a high amount of money, you won't have a high amount of eco, so then you can use that, you can defend, you can spend the rest of your money ecoing. As you can see, we've almost got 60,000. I just want to let it build up a little bit more. I want to send 3 fortified BADs because I think that'll ensure victory for us. And I'm going to stop at 6,000 eco. Perfect number. That doesn't happen often for me, so that's nice. And then after our next income boost, we'll start sending the BADs. There's one fortified. I'm hoping they'll use their Call to Arms ability and be like, oh, they're only sending one? But right now they're getting more defenses. Once it gets here, I'll send the next one. So let's send that now. We have Icicle and Pal that should defend against all of these DDTs. Just to be safe though, I am going to tower boost because that's getting way too far. The heck was going on with that? Okay, we did survive. Let's send another one, and then I want to send DDTs all over top. Balloon boost, and that should ensure victory, and it does. Let's go. Usually my Icicle and Pal in that spot does better. Maybe there's a bug with the new update, or maybe they changed how it worked. Well, how it works, but yeah, you never really know. Let's claim that. Only 1 day left of season 31. And let's get back to Jumpstart, and this time we're going to be using the village to make money. We're hoping for a map like Mayan. Koru is the exact opposite of what I want. Oasis isn't terrible. I'll take it. So we're going to be using... what do we want? How about let's do Dartling Village Super Monkey. And then we'll change out the Ice Monkey for the village or for the farm. And we'll see how that goes. We've got $60,000. First thing we're going to do is set down Etienne. Then a village. And we're going to go for the Monkey City. And we're going to get a few of those. Let's do 3. And let's set down a farmer right there. Get a Dartling gunner right here. Go for the Rocket Storm. And then we can work on getting a Dark Champion. It's round 22, so we don't have to worry about DDTs just yet. That should be fine. I'm actually going to aim that down. There, that looks better. Now, I'm a fan of locking the Dartling Gunner in place when it's not the MAD. If I get the MAD, I tend to unlock it. And that's really the way I prefer to play this. Mainly because I just find that it's easier to do it that way. And I'm hoping that this one will also get sacrificed when we do go for the Monkeyopolis. Thinking this will be the one, so let's get bigger radius. And then the strategy from here is honestly spam monkey cities. Monkey economies, monkey cities. I think spamming monkey economies and then upgrading slowly into monkey cities might actually be better. I don't know that for a fact. But I only want to put them in this bottom area. Right there where we have them, and then if we can fit one there, no we can't. Why are we doing so bad to that? I mean, we're doing alright. It looks like... Let's go for another monkey city. Now, we are making a decent amount of money. It's just since we started off with only 60k, that's not a lot for Jumpstart. So it's going to be a little bit worse than what I wanted and what I was hoping for. But with all these monkey cities, that should, you know, make up for it. Because we're making a decent amount of money, I'd say. Is it going to be as much as the farm? We'll find out. Obviously, this is just, you know, one test sample. It's just me going through one eco, one farm, one village, so you can't rely on this information and be like, this one's always better than the other, because nothing's always going to be better. I say that the village is better, but there may be cases where it's better to get the farm, because the farm tends to give you more money faster, but if you want to go late game anyway, that's where the village really shines. So let's get that Monkeyopolis. And that's another benefit. You can combine, you know, all of your villages within one's radius and get the full benefits of all of them. And that's something you can't do with the farm anymore, since they changed it for the village. But we're gonna build back up the monkey cities because we want to be constantly making money. We're essentially using the village how we would a farm. The only difference is typically we don't sell the village if we're getting rushed, and unless we have to. And the reason being is because it makes money over time versus a farm where it makes money a certain amount per round. So yes, you're still making a certain amount per round, but you'll make a lot more money, I think, with the village if you start farming early. Because if you're using the village anyways, you're probably going later game than you would with a farm. And now I'm just going to save up for Legend of the Night. You can see we're very close to it now because of the round 30 BFB. There we go. So we're getting about 5,000 every time the crates are collected. Not terrible, not great. But it does add up because I do believe that the village produces more crates around than the farm. Don't quote me on that though, because I'm not completely sure. I just think that's how it works. And that's just how how I've had experience with it, so that's just what I think. I can't state that for a fact. But since we have the money to do so, I'm going to send fortified DDTs. One boost them. And we got the win. So now, this next game, we're going to be using the farm and see if it's significantly better, significantly worse, or about the same. My guess is that it's going to be about the same. We completed 3 season quests all in that game, so that's nice. Close to getting 3 balloon bots that I probably won't use since I've got the keyboard and mouse. It's a lot more convenient just to press the Alt button than using them, but I like having them anyway, because occasionally I do use them and they're nice to have. We're going to skip that map because that map sucks. Round 10. That is terrible, please. Oh no. Anyways, we're going to use Dartling Farm Super Monkey this time. We're only starting off with $5,000 and 800 eco, so this is going to be... well, this is going to kind of suck. But this should be a good example if the farm is better. So let's go ahead and get Etienne here. Let's go ahead and get our Dartling Gunner because I'm more worried about defending right now. And since we can afford it, we're going to go for a farm. Right there. Get a farmer here. Let's get a plantation on that. That should make us a decent amount of money. Is that the default farm texture now, or is that different? Shoot, we're struggling. Well, that, sinks into our profits a little bit, but sometimes that's what you gotta do when farming. Also, if you hit the right button, there you go too. Now, I could win this game right now if I wanted to, but I want to take it later than that. But that said though, if we get rushed, we are kind of in a pickle. At 117 lives though. Is our opponent gonna die to AI? I hope not. Let's go for another farm. Now I know you can like utilize the bottom path when going for like plantations and stuff, but when I go for higher end upgrades, I always go middle path, so I'd rather have the middle path and then just upgrade that instead of selling than buying a new one, then upgrading to, you know, like tier 4s or tier 5s. So I haven't changed the way I use farms pretty much at all since they updated that. But I just kind of spam plantations, and that's usually my strategy for farming. If you want to do it that way, go ahead. I'm not the best farmer though, I don't use them that often, mainly just for videos. When I grind and ranked, I usually just use pure eco strategies, and that works for me. So that's why I farm like this, because, you know, I know how to farm, like, properly, but farming is one of those things that I think you should really just, you know, experiment with it, do it how you like to, and make it a little bit more, you know, personal. We're gonna get one more farm. Fit it in this bottom area. It looks like we can. So let's go ahead and see. So we got 4 plantations. Probably be about equivalent to a couple monkey economies, or not monkey economies, monkey cities. So let's go ahead and we're gonna rush our opponent now, just because they've been decently aggressive to us, but it looks like they can handle the purples. So let's go for regen rainbows. They're gonna be able to handle that, so that was a failed rush. But anyways, I have very minimal defenses. I'm surprised they haven't rushed us more. I kind of wasted that tower boost, but I really don't care. So we're gonna do what you would normally do with the farm when you all out your opponent. And we're gonna sell them, so that way we can afford rushes. And then we're gonna balloon boost. And then we're gonna send as many purples underneath as we can. And actually, let's go to pinks, because we want to get that super range for the increase of Pierce. Yeah, and just look how far that ZOMG is getting, because we sent all those BFBs over top. And the Dartling Gunner really struggles to ceramic, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get the win. And as you can see, we did. So, is there a significant difference? I would say slightly. I would say the village seems to be easier to get more of them up, but the village gets you about the same amount of money for having less of them. So with that said, is the village a better money-making tower than the farm? I would say no. So there's your answer. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.